we go. That should be it there, yeah.
Okay.
All good, all good, all good. So yeah, Brian, do you want me to call you Brian for this or Cedric, brother? What's best?
I prefer Brian, man. Cedric is kind of like my name for work and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but Brian is what all my friends call me, so I'm good with
nice,
that.
Brian. I love it, mate. So, plan of action. So I've created this series and these episodes. Just that's like the first episode. So it's called The Battle Called Life. So I'm having men on who are committed to the path and who are seeking higher levels of understanding. And the
Yeah.
whole point of this series and episodes is just to hear about your own unique journey and your individual journey and just hear more about your commitment to the path. But
Right.
what I want this to be about is men of action. So all the people I'm going to have on this over the next few months or within the next 6 months to 1 year is all going to be men who are kind of like-minded and men of action and who are committed to the path. And I
Okay.
think it's important for us to kind of promote this message because there's a lot of men who need this type of knowledge. So the
Right.
first thing I want to ask you, Brian, is what is your current challenges that you've had to overcome in your life? And if you have any wisdom to share, that would be awesome for the people that are going to be watching this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll get right into it. My name is Brian. I'm from Louisiana in the U.S. Um, I'll give you a little bit of backstory about me.
Yeah.
I'm 50 years old, just made 50 a few months ago. Been married and divorced a couple times. Couple grown kids, 2 boys. One's 30, one's 25. And the way I got to where I am now is I spent a lot of my life doing what people expected me to do. I did college, got married, had kids, did the whole corporate thing, and I just found that I wasn't really fulfilled, man. It was one of those things where you just kind of buy into it. You're going to work every day. You're doing the husband and father thing, and I would always feel like something was missing. I'd get kind of antsy every now and then, so I'd bounce around from jobs thinking that would be the thing that would kind of get me, on the right path and feeling like I was doing what I felt I was meant to do, and none of it worked. None of it worked. And so, like I said, I bounced around from things, and I did, once I got single, I did what single guys did, man. I ran around getting into this and getting into that, and still none of that stuff really fulfilled me. And it wasn't until I kind of sat down with myself and kind of figured out what it was that I wanted. And it took me years from bouncing around from this to that.
Yeah.
And one of the things was I discovered Soul's content, man. And Soul, it was like he was speaking to what was going on inside of me. And it still took years because I'd been following Soul for years, man. Probably, like 4 or 5 years at this point.
Yeah.
So finally, I hit rock bottom, like Soul talks about, man. I had ended another relationship, was out of work, sleeping on my sister's couch. And I just kind of decided, like, man, either I'm gonna figure this thing out, or I just don't want to be here anymore, man. And what like my content is kind of motorcycle driven because that was the thing that was always my passion, and I just kind of poured myself into it and got into kind of like the existential part of riding, man, where it's where I get closer to God, man, and I learned about myself and the things that I wanted to do with my life, and my content's kind of geared towards helping other men kind of find their purpose like that, because it took me so long, and I don't want other brothers to be almost 50 before you kind of finding out what your place is or where you're supposed to be in this life, man, and that's kind of that drives me to do what I do. My passion, of course, is the bikes. So I kind of wrap that around what my purpose is, which I feel is service and helping other men to kind of find themselves and find their place in this world, man. And I'm so grateful for because I seriously thought about not being here anymore, man. I thought about ways to do it. And so once I found what kind of fueled me and drove me, life has been it hadn't been perfect. I'm not going to say that, but it's 1,000% better than where I was a few years ago, man. Because
brother, just to chop in there, so you kind of mentioned the rock bottom. Like, I think that's obviously it's a horrible place to be. I've been to that place many times in my life, but it's a fantastic place to learn and develop because you've got nothing else other than yourself and your mind. And a lot of people leave the situation and you're kind of just left there by
Right.
yourself. So for me personally, I'm so grateful that I've been in that kind of position, because
Right.
without that rock bottom position, there's no way that I was developing wisdom, higher levels of understanding, and just finding out more about me. So what was your kind of biggest life lesson from being at rock bottom from your perspective?
I think the biggest thing I found, and like you, I think that was looking back. It didn't feel like it at the time when I was in it, but looking back, it's probably the best thing that ever happened, because I was always able to just kind of bounce from things to things to things and distract myself away from what I was actually feeling and going through. So it was the best thing, because it kind of forced me to kind of figure out a way out of this, because it was either this or not be here. And so I think the biggest thing was just it forced me to kind of figure out who I was and what I wanted out of life and what I could contribute
Yeah.
to life and to other people. And so the biggest thing that drives me now, man, is just I don't want anybody else to kind of go through that. And if I can help you escape that, or if you're in it, then that's what I'm here for, man. I think that is what my purpose is and what God put me here to do. And so
Yeah.
I feel so grateful and blessed by that, man. It's
Mhm.
just like meeting you. I
Yeah.
mean, if going through that and meeting guys in the power circle, soul, and things like that, man, it's a blessing. It's really
Yeah,
it really has been
100%.
a blessing for me.
And that's the thing as well. Like when you're on this path and this journey, it's quite lonely. But if you persist for a certain period of time, you do start to meet brothers like yourself
Yeah,
eventually, which is kind of like I said, it's very nice to know that there's other people on that journey. But
right,
the thing that I love the most is we all have different perspectives and different points of views, and there's so much wisdom and gold that we can all share to help build us up and obviously apply to our life every day. So it is powerful stuff
right.
for sure, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. I definitely agree, man. Yep.
So, bro, what I want to jump into next is kind of just like from your perspective, is the importance of a man having a vision in today's world and your kind of approach on that. And if you have any knowledge on that side of things, that would be powerful stuff. So, the importance of
Okay.
a man just having a vision.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, and I lived like this for 45, 46 years of my life, man, where I didn't have a vision. I was just, distracting myself with sports, chasing women, money, work, those kind of things. And I think a lot of men do that because we have no idea what we're supposed to do, what we're meant to do. We just do what we were programmed basically to do. And so I think if a man doesn't have a vision, I think you're just, man, you get into so much crap. It chasing women,
Yeah.
drinking, drugs, any of that kind of crap, man. If you don't have a vision and a purpose for what you're supposed to be doing here with this life, I think you're
Yeah.
wasting time. I know it may
Mhm.
not feel like it when you're in it, but I think you are really wasting time. And the best thing maybe is to hit rock bottom, and because it forces you to kind of figure out your place. To me, if you don't figure out your place, and I look at things that go on now and the stuff that people distract themselves with, I find it funny now. But
Yeah.
during when I was in it, it was just I was lost. So
Yeah.
if you don't find your place and find what it is you were meant to do, man, I feel like you're just spinning your wheels and
So
you could
fine. So
waste
see when you were
decades,
in that
man.
kind of rock bottom state, what was
Yeah.
your number one vice that had you gripped and pulled when you were in that position? Because as a man, like there's so many vices and distractions out there. Did you have like one specific one that was holding you?
Man, women.
Women. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Women. It was the
Mhm.
biggest distraction for me because I could find myself just spending months, even years, dealing with women and bouncing from one relationship to the next. And when that kind of ran its course, I'd be right into the next one, man. And so it distracted me. You chasing women and you're dating and you going on vacations and you're doing all this stuff. You don't have time to really think about what it is that's bothering you on the inside. So I would say the biggest thing for me was women. Was
100%.
women. It
I
was
agree
really
with that.
chase.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so many men out there who have so much potential, but for them to always chase women, they neglect themselves fully, and they
Yep.
can't really understand themselves on a higher level. And
Right.
like I said, what Soul speaks about, like the women that we attract are a reflection of who we are. So when you're
Oh
in
yeah.
that position, I can imagine the women that you're attracting were not very at that kind of highest level and that highest caliber that you needed at that moment in time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. They were definitely a reflection of me. They were all over the place, and two people being all over the place is just constant chaos. And I
Yeah,
lived in a state, man. I was Captain Chaos for a long time. And so that's one of the best things about my life now. And getting out of that, it's just so peaceful, dude. I do the things that bring me joy. I do the things I want to do, and I don't have all that weight. That weight, waiting for the next shoe to fall. And man, it's a blessing to be here like this,
yeah.
to
And I
live this
like
life
your
like this.
attitude of life, like you've explained, you've been at rock bottom, but you still get that kind of sense of gratitude, which is phenomenal because a lot of people
Yeah,
can actually find it quite difficult to have that
yeah,
sense of gratitude with the way the world's going at the moment. So I really respect that you've got that kind of mentality
yeah,
ingrained inside of you because I'm a big believer in that as well. Like with
yeah,
all the challenges that I've had, the mindset that I always follow is that kind of gratitude mind because, like I said, it's all wisdom and life lessons that you can use and apply for your
right,
growth and the commitment to the
right,
path. So,
right.
bro, what I was going to ask you as well. So, what age did you kind of start seeking knowledge fully and make that commitment towards your own journey and all your own passions?
I would say it started probably about 10 years ago.
Right.
And that was around the time I've been riding motorcycles probably for about 15 years. But I discovered this actually a motorcycle forum, and there was this guy. He's since passed, but he kind of just sold everything and just kind of spent his time just riding his motorcycle all over the country. Took a trip over to Europe, things like that, and just the writings and the pictures and stuff. It just kind of inspired me to want to do that
Yep.
and to kind of want to change my life and be able to live life on my own terms, man. So it was that guy. His name was Dennis Matson.
Yep.
He's passed. He had brain tumor or something like that. But man, I wish he was here so I could tell him that it was just his story that kind of inspired me to kind of change mine. And then after that, it was just, I discovered YouTube started booming, and I found, I don't even know how I found Soul's content, man. It was just one of those weird things. And that was just kind of the catalyst that kind of thrust me into really wanting to change my life. So to answer your question, I was about 40-ish, somewhere around there, when I really started kind of looking at life different and wanting to really do something different with my life.
Yeah. Love it. Love
But
it.
I
Yeah.
didn't really get it didn't really get serious until probably 4 or 5 years ago, to be honest with you.
Right. So, what was that stage that made it more serious, though? Was that you applying more action? Was it you having more time in silence? Like, what was that specific thing that was making it more serious for you?
I think it was the when I hit bottom, and
Yeah.
it was just, I gotta figure this out, or I don't even want to do this anymore. And I think it was that. So probably around 4 or 5 years ago that happened, and that was kind of the catalyst that kind of just, I got to do something because I
Yeah.
can't. I don't even want to live like this, man. It was just, it forced me to kind of sit down and kind of figure out, okay, let's try something else. You've tried all these other things. Let's try this and pour yourself into this. And that was the thing, man. And it's been, like I said, it hasn't been perfect. There's still things like life does what it does, but man, that was
Yeah.
it. That was it. And it sucked that, like I said, it sucked at that time,
Yeah.
but so grateful because I
Mhm.
could be like everybody else, just kind of distracted myself with politics and sports, because sports is huge down here in
Huge.
Louisiana,
Yeah.
football and
Mhm.
American football and stuff. So yeah, man, it's just the stuff that I used to get caught up in. I just kind of look at it and laugh and just like, man, I'm so grateful not to be there anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
many distractions. Like for me, so I probably found Immortal Minds videos when I was maybe about 18 years old, to be honest with you. But the kind of same with you, like it took me maybe 6 years of kind of
yeah,
consuming that knowledge and that kind of truth
yeah,
to actually apply it because there's a lot of layers inside my mind and a lot of old beliefs I had to change. And it's
yeah,
not like a quick fix, but when you fully realize it at that higher level, your life can have a major shift. But
right,
what I've felt that it brings for me is peace and fulfillment. And it's taught me that I can have peace now. If I
Yeah.
apply a certain mindset and sit in that kind of God energy, I can have that peace now, which is powerful stuff from my perspective, because it's not
Right.
about what you have. For me, it's about who you actually are, like your character, and like who you show yourself to be each and every day, which is my objective
Yeah.
for I am in my own individual life at the moment. So, what I was going to ask next, Brian. So, like, what would you say your number one biggest life lesson is so far that you would give to brothers watching over this, and just any man who is trying to like get that major life lesson from your perspective? What would you say that is for you with everything you've been through?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I think all men really need to do is kind of find out why you were put on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your particular skill set is or whatever drives you, you need to figure that out. Because
Yeah,
if you don't figure that out, I think you're not never going to be fulfilled, and you're going to be kind of spinning your wheels and distracting yourself with all kind of other different things.
yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing. If
100%.
you just kind of sit in the darkness, take a drive, take a walk, do work out, lift weights, whatever it takes you to kind of get you in that quiet place, you have to. Because if you don't, man, you'll be 50, 60 years old still trying to figure out why you feel restless and not whole. So that's the biggest thing. I would encourage any man, if he really wants to get his life on track, figure out why you're here. Figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
what you're meant to do. Yep.
100%. And yeah,
Yeah.
bang on the money. But again, to find that, what I would probably say, like you just said, is you need to spend time with yourself. So,
Yeah.
like you said, you have to take yourself away from certain situations and kind of enjoy the silence a wee bit. But I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of men these days, they don't enjoy the silence. Like I
Mm-mm.
said, in the clubs
Mm-mm.
every weekend, or chasing all the women, and
Yep.
constantly try to distract themselves from the truth. The truth
Yeah.
initially is quite daunting because it's the fear of the unknown. But once you step into that, you see a new truth and perspective in the life that we are creating. And
Right.
that's where the power lies, But it goes back to the distractions. So for
Yeah.
me, the biggest distraction for me was drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
I couldn't let that go for years. I was falling in the trap like most young men are these days, especially
Yeah.
where I am, is going to the pub every weekend, taking drugs, getting involved with the wrong females, and that just
Yeah.
becomes a vicious cycle. Yeah,
Yep.
your character gets destroyed, your willpower gets destroyed, and you're just following everyone else, and you're doing nothing constructive with your life. But the
Right.
power of silence, 100%, is the place that I would say that men have to go.
Yeah.
And even if
Yeah.
that's meditation or walking
Yeah.
or training, or like you said, going on the motorcycle, but you need to
Yeah.
be by yourself when you're doing that, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
100%. So,
Yeah. I
brother,
definitely agree, man.
the last one I wanted to speak about was just kind of the spiritual war of life and like the spiritual battle that's going on. Because from my experience, like I've tried to develop my mind in a way where it's kind of like a mental sword, where I can basically be equipped to take life's challenges on. If a man
Mm-hmm.
isn't working on himself and he has a weak mentality and mindset, he's going to get blown away by challenges. He's going to get blown away by
Mm-hmm.
adversity. And for me to really develop my mindset, I get into combat sports. And I found that was a fantastic way to develop my grit, my determination, but also
Mm-hmm.
give me that kind of mental edge that I needed. So if you get any input or advice on like the spiritual battle that's going on, or is that something you to believe is currently happening at the moment?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I think with all this stuff that goes on in the world, with Trump and Biden and all these wars in the Middle East and all this stuff, you can lose yourself in all that crap if you're not grounded. And it like Soul says, man, it goes all back to knowledge of self and
yeah,
why you were put on this earth. If you're so busy chasing your particular purpose, your dream, going after your goals, you don't have time to worry about what Trump is doing in Washington, D.C., or what's going on in Syria or anything like that. So it all comes back to finding out what you're supposed to be doing on this earth. Once you
mm,
find that, man, you're so busy. I'm so busy doing my thing. Yeah, I hardly pay attention to all that other stuff, man. I just came back a few weeks ago. I spent 3 weeks just out on the West Coast riding my bike to
nice.
California, to Arizona. I was too busy. By the time I got done riding during the day, all I wanted to do was eat and go through my video and sleep, man. I didn't have time. I was just living my living day-to-day, living in my dream through my dream. So
Yeah.
if you have that, you don't have time to worry about what everybody else is doing and all that other craziness that's going on, man. You're so focused on building your life. And again, find your purpose. You won't have time for all that other nonsense.
That's the key. Yeah.
Yep.
Purpose for sure. 100%.
Yep.
So, Brian, so see for, let's say, the next 3 to 6 months, what's going to be your main focuses for you over the next
For me,
months?
it's building my YouTube channel.
Yep.
It's called Men on a Mission.
Yep.
And basically what it is me and other like-minded men living out through our purpose. You don't even have to be into motorcycles. That just happens to be my thing. If your thing is rock climbing or lifting weights or making music, whatever it happens to be, but I want to use my passion, my pursuit of my purpose through my passion to inspire other men to do the same thing. And all I want to do now is just make content, show myself living through my passion and my purpose and enjoying life and inspire other men to do that. That's all I'm really concerned about, and pushing my content through YouTube. I do TikTok, I do Instagram, things like that. So that's my main focus, man, just to kind of build that up and then spread the word.
100%.
Yep.
What I'll do when this is all done is I'll fire everything in the description below. So when people watch back, they can obviously go and check your channel and things like that as well. How much content are you putting out throughout the week at the moment? Are you doing one video a week and stuff like that, just so that people know? Or is it like a few videos per week?
Yeah, I need to get more consistent. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is getting more consistent. Right now on YouTube, I probably put out about a video a week. I need to amp that up to probably 2 or 3. And when Instagram, man, you got to do about 2 or 3 a day. And I really haven't been as consistent on that. Same thing with TikTok. You got to do about 2 or 3 a day. I'm trying to get more consistent. I got tons of video because I spent 3 weeks riding my bike and just kind of filming and stuff. So I just kind of need to sit down and get really consistent, produce some content, get the message out, and yeah, that's pretty much what I do now.
100%. So see, when you're like riding your bike for that duration of time, is that something that you just do spontaneously, or you kind of planned that cycle out for 3 weeks, or was that just kind of in the moment kind of thing?
It was, for that, I'll be honest with you, it was something I'd wanted to do for about 10 years, but when I left, man, I had just bought a new bike.
Yeah.
And so 2 weeks after I bought that bike, man, I got me a new camera, got another backpack, and I just left, man. There wasn't really I just knew I wanted to get to San Francisco. And so after that, it was just day by day. All right, I'm gonna go to Dallas tomorrow. Then after that, I'm gonna go to Albuquerque or something like that. So I would just pick a city, and then I would, I only wanted to ride maybe 4 to 5 hours a day. And so I would pick a city that was like 4 to 5 hours, get an Airbnb there, go there, and then I would stay there for the night. Next day, I'd plan the next day, and then I would do it like that. So it wasn't really planned out. But it's kind of, all of that kind of goes into the vision of what I want for Men on a Mission, like-minded guys riding bikes and just kind of spending time kind of figuring out this thing called life, man. So yeah, man, that's the vision. That's the vision. There wasn't too much of a big plan with it, but it was kind of spontaneous though. Yeah.
Have you got any plans that are coming up then, or any rides you'll be doing?
Man, if it wasn't November, almost December here, I'd be up in Colorado somewhere, Montana. But it's just right now, I don't mind riding in the cold, but I don't want to ride in the snow. So I'm just kind of waiting until hopefully in the spring I'll take another ride. Right now, only thing really open without snow and stuff like that is maybe up in South Carolina, North Carolina, something like that, Florida. I may head over there in the next few weeks before Christmas though, but I don't have anything concrete planned, but I'm pretty spontaneous a lot of the time. So I might get a bug and want to go to Key West or something. Never know.
Love it. Right, brother, before we finish, is there any books that you would recommend that you've read that have maybe gave you a lot of wisdom or anything like that? Is there any that you would like to share?
Yeah, man, my favorite book is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Man, I think I've read that book 20 times.
Really?
That book, man, that book is kind of my guide almost, to be honest with you. And of course,
is that a book that you understood straight away? Because obviously there's a lot of hidden messages behind it. as
You know
well.
what? I saw what introduced me to that book was a video I saw of Will Smith doing an interview, and he
Right.
talked about The Alchemist. So it really got me into it. To be honest with you, the first time I didn't really absorb it, but as I got older and got more into this spiritual walk, I understood it more and more, man. And it's something I probably read that book now maybe 3 times a year, 3-4 times a year, just to reinforce it. But I think Coelho's book, The Alchemist, is probably the biggest
Yeah.
book that changed my life. And of course, I've Soul's book. I've read Outwitting the Devil, things like that. But The Alchemist is by far had the biggest impact
I
on
think
my
I've
life.
read that book twice, and I think the first time I read it was about 4 or 5 years ago. I
Yeah,
didn't fully grasp it fully, but I
yeah,
read it about a year ago, and yeah, it hit me for sure. And there's a lot of life lessons in there, hundreds.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. It's
So
so much about following your path, man. Just
yeah,
trusting that you're going to get to where you want to go, man. That book
yeah.
is gold. I would
And
recommend that
obviously
book
the
to
distractions
anybody.
come in as well for
Yep, yep,
Santiago as well, and he still has to commit to the path. So
yep,
it does
yep,
reflect today to
yep.
today's
And
man.
his path, and the thing is his path is like life. It
Yeah,
wasn't perfect, and he almost quit a couple
yeah,
times.
yeah.
He almost quit, and so, man, that book is gold. That book is gold.
Yeah, I love it, love it. Right, Brian, to be honest, yeah, that's been a fantastic chat today. And I really appreciate your time and coming on and sharing your wisdom. I
Yeah,
would
man.
love to do
Appreciate it.
these a few more times over the next few months if you get time and stuff like that. And I'm going
Yeah,
to have a lot more brothers like yourself on here too over the next
yeah,
few months, just to try and share that wisdom and kind of just promote a message of accountability, but also it's very rare for men to be fully committed to the path. So the more that we promote this message, the better. So we can try and help other brothers who are kind of dabbling in and out of it, because you know yourself, it's hard to make
yeah,
that full commitment because it's kind of the fear of the unknown. But once you commit to the path of seeking truth, life does flow better, and you can hit a level of peace and fulfillment that you can't obtain if you're following the common men. So I really appreciate you coming on today. And yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, man, appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'll just let me know when you want to do it again, man. I'm open. I'm
Let's
open.
do it. Let's do it. Right, brother. Enjoy your day. Okay.
All right, man. Talk to you
Thank you
later.
so much. See you soon. See
Yep.
you soon.